we go. Good afternoon, Rian Kutsia from Fortis Proactive Defense Solutions, coming at you live from Pretoria in South Africa. And I'm talking today again to Scott McLean, one of the chief instructors of the Lone Operator course in Pretoria primarily. Scott, good afternoon and welcome.
Hi, Rian. How are you doing? And yeah, thanks for having me back.
Okay, there we go. The video went a little green on your side there for a second. So for a second there, I thought I'd lost you. But you're back now. Scott, I want to kick things off by asking you if you can, because we're talking today about firearm safety. We're taking a bit of a deep dive into firearm safety. If you can explain what makes firearm safety such an absolutely crucial foundation for every firearm owner, regardless of your levels of experience, and why do we emphasize it before you even touch a gun?
Yeah, you know, safety is paramount. It's non-negotiable, and it's the solid foundation that we build all our skills on, even our fundamentals. I think that all new firearm owners and hopefully all experienced firearm owners that understand what their firearm is actually capable of, and how quickly a situation can go bad if you're irresponsible or you are losing concentration and your safety fundamentals go out the window. And also, you know, handling a firearm, basically introducing any variable pretty much is going to add to your stress levels or your capability, and it's going to test your safety and your safe gun handling skills. So speed, stress, fatigue, lack of concentration, any of those
can affect it. And of course, I mean, as we know, the consequences can be devastating. Lots of people talk about respecting the gun, but in practical terms, what does it actually mean? How does this having a safety first mindset affect both your performance as well as your accountability, and specifically in a high stress environment?
Yeah, so being in a high stress environment is going to test any weaknesses you have in your safe handling, your safety, or any of your fundamentals. And I think putting a priority on your safety is going to put an emphasis on your accuracy with regards to shot placement, and holding you more accountable to handling that firearm, the consequences, and your performance. Yeah.
Okay. Well, because of course, at the end of the day, you need to be accountable.
Absolutely. You know, legally, we are responsible for every single bullet that comes out that gun.
Exactly.
So,
yes.
Yeah, it falls on us.
Okay, so that brings me to the four universal rules of firearm safety, because people repeat this. For many people, it's a mantra. For many people, it's something that they say, and I'm not always certain everybody knows exactly what it's about. Can you maybe walk us through these four rules, the universal rules of firearm safety, and how they work together as a system rather than standalone rules?
Right, yeah. So I think that the four golden rules, the four universal rules, are very well thought out, and they work especially well together. You have to. I look at them as sets of fail-safes. So, you know, whether I'm handling my firearm or I pick up another firearm, I'm responsible for anything that happens. If a shot goes off, no matter whose firearm it is, if I'm handling it, it's the onus is on me. And so if you go through the rules in order, you assume it's loaded. Always assume it's loaded. That way, regardless if it's empty or loaded, you are clearing that firearm every single time and not taking any chances. And while I'm doing that, I am pointing it in a safe direction and keeping my finger off the trigger to further avoid any risks. And while handling the firearm, while engaging with that firearm, I need to know my target and what is beyond my target. So that puts a massive emphasis on shot placement and accuracy, accountability, and what is beyond my target. Well, that's where, say, for example, the ammunition comes in, and you discuss over penetration. So that bullet, or each bullet that is traveling at such a high speed, such a high velocity, is only going to stop if it hits an immovable object or runs out of energy. So you need to take that into consideration. And as soon as you break one of those rules, you are drastically increasing the chances of something horrible happening, an injury or death.
Okay. And again, then, you know, everything that follows on that, after that, which is, I think, as a legal firearm owner, other people's safety always need to be over and above your own safety. Other people's safety need to always be in the forefront of your mind.
100%. Yeah. We are liable.
Okay. Okay. Dry firing. It's a very powerful training method, but it can obviously easily lead to safety complacency because, you know, there's no ammo involved. How do I avoid that type of complacency when I practice dry firing at home?
So again, you know, moving forward, you always apply the 4 golden rules. But I understand what you say. When people get complacent, they get bored, and they start to either cut corners or lose concentration, and that's where the brain starts to play tricks on you as well. So you often hear, clear your firearm and put that live ammunition somewhere out of reach, even in another room, and don't completely avoid that kind of chance of a risk happening. And you know, dry firing is such a great opportunity to hammer in good, safe fundamentals and good skill sets. And I would say you need to apply the 4 rules at all times. Always empty your magazines, always use dummy rounds. If you are dry firing and, say, for example, you leave the room to go do something, come back, double check your weapon. And it's complacency and taking it seriously as if you are in the range, handling a live weapon. And avoid bad habits.
Basically, the bottom line is every time you are handling that weapon, those 4 rules must be applied. There's no question about it.
Absolutely. I would build a mantra like you would handle your firearm on the line. Finger off the trigger, assume it's loaded, draw your firearm, remove the source of ammo, lock your slide back, inspect it, check 1, check 2, that kind of thing. And yeah, don't take any risks.
No risks. I agree. So when you come to live fire exercises, obviously the moment you do that, your risks are bigger than with dry firing, because now you've got ammo in it and there are often other people about. Can you maybe discuss a couple of key safety protocols? This will be safety protocols on a range, especially during movement or stress drills that you absolutely have to apply every single time.
Yes. Some of the biggest ones for me is finger discipline and muzzle awareness. So with stress, that is just going to compound on your, like we said before, on your safe gun handling skills. And you are going to, the more stress you have, the more tunnel vision you're going to experience. And if it's in a self-defense situation, you're going to battle with that. You're going to have auditory exclusion, your body alarm reaction, physical traits. So it's important to, and I know it sounds silly, but it's important to breathe, scan around you, look, take the time to assess what you're doing, assess your firearm, assess your situation. But with movement and stress, especially on the range, even though it's a controlled training environment, muzzle awareness and finger discipline is a big thing.
Okay. All right. Well, we're doing great on time, so I'm just going to carry on. Okay. Some practical safety drills. If we put theory into practice, what kinds of safety drills should shooters incorporate into their regular training? To turn it into safe habits. I think we've started discussing it with this previous point, but maybe we can just dive into that a little deeper.
Right, yeah. So dry firing, again, is the perfect time to drill everything that we are going to do live. Honestly, I believe that you should earn your range time with dry firing. It's the perfect opportunity to get rid of bad habits and hammer in those good ones. Let's say, for example, manipulating your firearm. You manipulate your firearm in your workspace. So bring it up to your eye level and don't bring your eye level down to your firearm. Because in a real life situation, a defensive situation, you're taking your eyes off everything that's happening around you. And the stress is going to be hard enough to deal with. So we need to do everything we can to set ourselves up for success. That also enables us to keep our eye on the prize, able to have better weapon retention because it's right in our face. And it allows us to see exactly what is going on, because we will eventually you will need to assess what is going on with your firearm, whether you need to do a magazine change, perform an immediate action drill for a malfunction. And don't be good protocols. With regards to training, don't rush. Speed will come with practice. Rushing leads to mistakes being made. And like we said earlier, with the firearm, that's dire. There's no going back. Scan, help break that tunnel vision, help you see where you need to go next. If your course of fire is you need to move to cover and then find better cover, or it's a defensive situation, you need to scan so that you can see where you're going next. You need to look for an exit. Are you looking for more bad guys, good guys, cover? But if you're going to move, you need to see where you're going. So, and remember to breathe. It's often overlooked. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Very important part that.
Yeah. It sounds silly, but you eventually, even on the range under a controlled environment, you finish a course of fire and then you find yourself gasping for a breath of air. Yeah.
Yeah, and it happens so easy that it almost surprises you every time afterwards. You're like, what the hell was that?
So absolutely, yeah. So it just shows you the tunnel vision and the zone you get in. Yeah.
That's a very valid point. Another thing that sounds so simple and straightforward and easy is keep your damn finger off the trigger. Trigger discipline. And
100%.
Even if it sounds so simple, it is probably one of the most violated rules of them all. How can you drill this to get rid of a bad habit and make it a really good habit? And how can you test it under pressure in training?
So I understand why it's such an issue, because if you think about it, most firearms nowadays are designed to fit the human hand as comfortably as possible. And the trigger is placed perfectly, and all that trigger wants to do is just work. So what we need to understand is how and when to work that trigger. I find indexing is a good safety drill. So with that's part of like proprioception. So if you put your finger not on the trigger guard, because that is still part of the trigger. If you put your finger on the frame of the pistol or the slide, if you can, and you get a feel for what that feels like, and you make sure that you get that same feeling every single time you handle your weapon. So you start off slow. You draw the weapon, you present, and you look, you see where your finger is, what does it feel like, and repeat that slow process over and over again with as much perfection as you can. The speed will come. Then you do the same thing when you are doing magazine changes. You do the same thing when you are performing immediate action drills and moving as well. Check, assess, see what it feels like, and keep repeating that process. It is natural under stress, especially if you get a fright or you fall over, to clench your fists. And under stress, your body finds a natural tension. You always got that death grip on that firearm, which you learn to control over meaningful repetitions. So it's a matter of just deliberate and conscious effort and looking what you're doing. Start off slow, work it. Don't be in a hurry. Rather, work on that perfect repetition and build on that foundation.
Okay, I think that's solid advice. That is solid. So, if you're doing drills for unloading and loading, there are many negligent discharges that happen during that process. And I am certainly guilty of that myself. Also, cleaning of a firearm. What is the safest and most methodical way to practice this so that you can reinforce that safety mindset?
So, yeah, you're right. Statistically, this is where most of the NDs, the negligent discharges, happen. And I think it's got to do with thinking that your attention to detail stops when you stop shooting, but it's not the case. And often people are also in a hurry to holster their weapon. That's another thing. But as far as unloading, loading, and cleaning your weapon, I would build a mantra that you repeat obsessively in the exact same order every single time over in your head, and in the beginning, say it out loud. So what we do is we, let's just say we've got a shoot on the line, or you're at home. You would draw your firearm with your finger off the trigger, point it in a safe direction. In your workspace, remove your magazine, inspect the magazine. So we inspect the magazine. So let's just say, for example, you finish the course of fire and you assume that your gun is empty. You remove your magazine and there's a round in the magazine. So if that's the case, there's a very good chance that there's a round in your chamber. Inspect the magazine. Also inspect for spring tension. See if there's an issue with your magazine follower. Put the magazine away. Lock your slide back. Make sure the chamber is empty, the magazine well is empty. If you want, you can check the bolt face. And depending on the range procedures, or if you're at home, you can lock the slide back and keep it locked back for an inspection. Or you can then double check that, check one, check two, it is empty and clear. Drop your slide, take a dedicated dry shot, and you can commence with stripping the firearm, or removing your live ammunition, putting it somewhere else, starting a dry fire routine. And then with loading the weapon, it's pretty much the reverse process. You make sure that you are in a safe area, pointing your weapon in a safe direction with your finger off the trigger. You'll load your magazine and load it into your preferred carry condition. And then either if you're on the line at the range or about to holster, look your firearm into the holster. Don't be in a rush to put that firearm in as fast as humanly possible.
And you see that often, where guys just say looking and without looking at what they're doing. And every time I see that, I go like, you know.
That's too close to home for me. Yeah.
Very close to home. I think because I wanted to ask about hot and cold transitions on the range, safety drills, but I think that joins with what we've been talking about just now. All the drills that you've
a
been
couple
talking
more
about.
rules on the line.
Yes.
Yeah, but say for example you are at the range, and the safest thing is wait for an instruction of what to do. But good rules of thumb are never handle a firearm until instructed to do so. Never handle a firearm empty or loaded behind anyone. Wait till you're on the firing line. Wait for instruction. Once the range is hot, or you've got a firearm in your hand, do not turn around or do not step off the line. Don't pick anything up. Make sure you've got personal protective equipment, eyes and ears, and just wait for further instruction.
Okay.
Yeah.
To wrap this up, Scott, if you had to leave the viewers with one core message on firearm safety, what would it be? What turns safety from a mindset to literally a way of life?
I'd say we are legally and morally responsible for our safe handling and our accuracy with our use of firearms as law-abiding citizens. We will be held accountable, and we should hold ourselves accountable and to a much higher standard. And it needs to be a way of life. It needs to be the foundation that you put your foundation on, if that makes sense. It's non-negotiable. And on top of that, I would just add on top of that high standard of training.
Okay, so high standard of training, and I think these 4 rules of safe firearm handling must be such a part of your thought process that somebody must wake you up at 3 in the morning and ask you, give me the 4 safety rules, and you can do it without even having to think about it. It must be in the forefront of your mind every single time.
Yes, yeah, it should be trained to a point that it is a subconscious action. So you need to put the required or the appropriate amount of meaningful and deliberate repetitions into your training and your safety, that it's second nature, it's subconscious, and you can access these skills or handle your firearm on an intuitive level while you are still consciously working on the task at hand.
Okay, Scott, thank you. I'm going to end there. I think we've covered the subject in such a way that hopefully the viewers will find value in it. And for the viewers, if you do, please remember to like and subscribe the video. Help us grow the channel so we can reach ever more people to get the message out. Scott, thank you so much for sharing some of your expertise with us today. And I hope we can have a chat again soon.
Excellent. Anytime, Rihanna. Thank you.